Toyotas, and they love the catalytic converters that are attached to them. Especially in the city, we've had numerous cars where parked in people's driveways, they wake up in the morning and the car makes a terrific noise, and the noise is the fact that the catalytic converter's been unbolted. It's 4 bolts and they come out. And they're taking them for the platinum and the other precious metals inside. So, I've had a couple of cases on your sister city to the west, but I know there's some, I was asked that of a parent out here, because they know their kid's homeschooled, they let their kid go out and ride horses and do whatever during the day, and it's like, realize you're taking a chance. Because if somebody stops them and goes, how come you're not in school? Oh, I'm homeschooled. Sorry, the law's specific. Homeschool, opportunity school, anything that is related to the word school, you're required to be either in a classroom or in your house.
For last month, we have a total of 16 traffic collisions. And out of those 16, 6 were injury involved. And that's pretty good.
Something brought this on. They didn't just decide, hey, we got to go look at this. There wasn't a problem, so what?
Let me tell you how it was presented to us the last few months. Statement they made here stating we want to set a precedent for the rest of the country. Okay, that was an amazing statement. We all sat here and listened to that and said they want to dictate policy, not just LA County, not just California, but the rest of the country. And that's what started the firestorm. I said, what are you talking about? What for? It seems to work just fine now. And so that's why we started to fight, and I'm glad that's why you're all here. But we've been doing this for a year, trying to figure out a way to get it stopped. And this is the process we have to go through now.
But that's not at the county's expense, that's at our expense.
Yes. Of course, we pay them, it's no expense to them.
Not the whole county, acting on Agua Dulce.
I don't have a report this evening. I'm actually here for your report back to the county on comments from the community on all the water issues tonight. I think that really is the #1 topic that the council's been dealing with over the past months, and consequently our office has been very focused on that.
The first one is tentatively scheduled for March 3rd, hopefully here in the Women's Club. This now has been over 10 years in the making. We're finally bringing it to closure. If we do not bring it to closure now, and suddenly it's a lot of discussion again, the county has told us they will not revisit it again for a long, long time. It will not affect the individual homeowner very much. There's a few provisions in there, like you cannot pave too much of your property, but you'll find that they're very reasonable limits. It's primarily to prevent developers from coming in and building whatever they wish on whatever type of land size they want. It's to maintain the 2 minimum acre. It's to maintain a certain front and side and backyard. It's to maintain certain landscaping rules, ridgeline rules, etc. Again, for the developer. You'll find a very small section that has to do with the individual homeowner, and none of it's onerous. You can take a look. There's very few people who would even be having any issues with it as it stands. Everything that's already there is grandfathered. Okay? There are things in there about lighting, etc. Again, it's primarily for developers, but even if it was to apply to the individual home, like no light trespass, it's grandfathered. So anybody who presently has something going on, that's not going to change.
To instruct a class for ham radio operators. This is to fit tongue and groove with our disaster planning council, so that we can provide a communication network as a backup to telephones and cell phones. Ham radio operation is very reliable given the towers stay up if we have an earthquake. So we're going to be talking about that this coming next meeting, which will be Thursday, I believe it's the 27th. But you can look on our website, which is addisasterplanning.com.
You're hearing about our task force team that has been deployed to Haiti. We're getting lots of questions about that, so I just wanted to give you a brief background. Trained group, 72 firefighters, paramedics, physicians that have been deployed with LA County Fire Department. They've trained for this for a long time. They've been on other large deployments as well.
But they have been certified by the United Nations disaster team as a heavy rescue team. We're still looking at 2009, obviously, because I don't have all the statistics for January, but no structure fires, thankfully. We had 2 mobile property fires in December. We had 14 rescues, and for a total for the year of 449 rescues. And what else stands out? Nothing really. We had 4 false alarm calls, which really isn't high.
That's all. And if you sign up as a fan, you'll be noticed every time we meet, and there'll be a link to the agenda. And any other issues that come up, you'll be the first to know. So I would strongly suggest that if you are on Facebook, become a fan of the Agua Dulce Town Council.
There's been a concerted effort to get all of us in these communities out of here, because the land is very attractive and our lifestyle is very attractive. We know all the reasons. What we have to do is find out who's behind this, because it's not anyone we know. Never is. Remember the Wizard of Oz? The guy behind the curtain is the guy. My suggestion is that we try to engage an investigative reporter or 2 from the Los Angeles Times to put some fear of God into some people and get behind this. We will not be able to even sell our properties for anything. Stop and think, if you're a buyer and you come to buy this man's property and he tells you that you're going to have to pay $6,000 to $8,000 every year for the right to use the well, and if your well runs dry once, you'll pay $500 a month for the rest of your life.
I wanted to put up some turbines before, go green. Want to go with the cost for the people, and they wanted $11,000 for each turbine, and I thought that was sort of unjustified. So I didn't want to pay it, but I put the turbines up anyways, and that caused some litigation. But then it turned out that just a month ago they dropped the fines from, not the fines, but the permits from $11,000 to $98. You go down to the Hall of Records and you want to research something on your property, the laws only go to 2006 because they don't feel that they have to put the books out till 2010. So you're stuck with the 2006 laws.
What's that now? Is that anybody that's ever got a permit from the county will find out that it's all in the wording. Once you use the word combined, they're going to say you've had it.
You've had your meeting.
If you just say, we're having this meeting and call it the Agua Dulce meeting, and have a next meeting at the same place, and call it the action meeting.
That's all
Right
right.
now, it's policy that environmental health is setting. And I know you know back in 2003, it was an unwritten policy.
Right.
That hauled water wasn't used for new construction. All of a sudden, in 2 years, it became a written policy with no community input.
Right. But the
So-
Board of Supervisors did have to vote on that ordinance.
But the ordinance doesn't have anything to do about hauled water not being allowed. The ordinance was, and it doesn't even have anything to do about well yield. There's nothing in the ordinance about well yield. It's about the additional testing for chemical, and that environmental health will set a well yield policy. Decision all up to environmental health, and that eliminates the public input part of it, that the Board of Supervisors make the decision. So I really do hope that it does become an ordinance, whatever they decide, because environmental health can make, they can change their policy with whatever they think is the current science.